Hey, it's Dr. Jarrett. Thanks for joining in. It's Tuesday afternoon, so you know I'm going to be here. It's Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's Dr. Jarrett's 2 cents. You get my 2 cents every single Tuesday afternoon. So, thanks for tuning in. You find me on Facebook Live, and you can come on in. So as I wait for you people to join us in the stream to get up and running, just wanted to give you guys a heads up that if you guys follow some of my other social media channels, you saw that I was out on Dorney Park, one of the amusement parks recently, and it actually was, a good Halloween themed event. But just seeing people walk around made me think maybe I should give a little information out there about Halloween and as far as it goes with kids. So I'm going to give you 3 tips to keep your Halloween costume shopping safe and appropriate. But I did have a lot of fun. You probably see some of my pictures on Instagram at Dr. Jarrett. You'll see some of my, if you follow me on Snapchat at Dr. Jarrett as well, you might have seen a few fun pics I took, and there were a lot of people out. It was a beautiful, warm October day, so we took advantage of all that nice weather and had a good family time out there. So for many of you guys that are just tuning in, this is Dr. Jarrett. I'm here every Tuesday on Facebook Live. You can follow me at Dr. Jarrett. That's J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. And I'll give that to you every week. Hey, Jody, thanks for tuning in. Well, I appreciate you coming into the room, and we're going to have a few tips for you guys today. I appreciate all my watchers and listeners coming in and seeing what's going on, because I promise I'm going to give you guys something that you'll need to help take better care of your children every week. But as I was saying, the trip at the amusement park was very fun. My kids always enjoy it. At least one of my kids enjoys it. The other one, not so much. So he's not a big roller coaster rider or anything like that. So we just let him go, or if he wants to go do something else, maybe we'll let him do that over the time. But my one son is a very big roller coaster fanatic, and so he wants to ride all the rides, and they wanted to see some of the scary stuff with his friends. So that was always good. But today, we're going to talk about, we probably need to do a series of Halloween tips, because there's a lot of Halloween tips that are out there, but I'm only going to give you 3 today. 3 tips, and this is mainly around the Halloween costume. That Halloween costume that we as parents put so much thought and effort into, and we get so excited about what is going on with our Halloween costumes and our kids. Sometimes we forget it's all about the kid. It turns into be more about us. Hey, Paulette, thanks for joining in the broadcast today here on Facebook Live. So I'll get started to get you guys on with your day, because I want to give you these 3 tips that are going to help you get the best costume for your kids and Halloween, and make it a safe and appropriate one as well. So for those of you who do not know, I'm Dr. Jarrett. I am a board-certified pediatrician, and I'm here to help all you parents out there take better care of your children and transform their behavior. I'm going to help you do this through my books, through my live streams, and through other programs that I'm going to have coming out to you. So what I'd like you to do is just one thing simple. One simple thing. I want you to like my Facebook page at Dr. Jarrett. Spell out doctor. That's J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. And just like that page, and you follow it, then you get my live streams every Tuesday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern, coming right to your box, so you won't miss an episode. Hey, Dr. Lucci, thank you for joining today. So as I was saying, the tips today are really about getting your kids safe and prepared for the Halloween time. It's coming up about 3 weeks from now, and if you're like me, you're not even thinking costumes yet, and maybe the kids will come to you with the costume, maybe they won't. My wife usually takes care of it because she gets into it a lot and makes sure they get the perfect costume. So some of you parents may not have done your shopping yet. So the first thing that I want you to think about is the scary factor, okay? Now, you heard me at the beginning talk about I was at the amusement park, and before I even get into the scary factor, I have to tell you, I couldn't tell you how many young children were being dragged into scary exhibits, how many young children were being taken somewhere they didn't want to go or they were afraid of. And I even saw people walking around with baby carriers and their babies just hanging on their chest, going through all these scary exhibits. You have to remember these are children, and although we all know that this is fake, children are going to be more anxious and have a higher anxiety to some of these things than we do as adults. So please don't take your kids to like the Slaughterfest Halloween festival. It's just most likely not going to be appropriate for them. We talked about appropriate things several weeks ago, talking about the rating system in video games. How you doing, Asher? Thanks for joining in. But we talked about things that are appropriate, and there aren't really rating systems for Halloween costumes, but you have to think about your child's developmental age. And if you have a young infant or toddler, you're gonna want to think, okay, well, even the things that may only be slightly scary could be scary, because just in general, kids may be scared of Halloween costumes, and that can have a problem. So when you're thinking about some of these things, well, look at my buddy right here. So we have my buddy here, and she is not that scary. She actually has a big smile on her face, and she's just a scarecrow. That is not too scary to most kids. However, some kids, this will be extremely scary to. You're right, Dr. Alucci. Children will be more anxious and have a higher anxiety than adults. So please remember this as you're coming in. So remember the scary factor. Something like this is much more scary, and this is going to scare kids all over the place when they're walking around the neighborhoods trick-or-treating or doing something else like that. It's just one of those things that you have to keep in mind. Although this thing is not scary to me, it's not scary to you, but it's going to be scary to some younger children and maybe even some older children. So again, don't force them for something they're not ready for. It is simply not worth it. So remember that scary factor. Again, at the amusement park, I saw so many parents dragging their kids into something they just were too afraid to even discover. And that is not going to make them tougher. It's not going to make them braver. It's not going to give them more street cred. It really can just heighten their anxiety and fear over any number of things. So keep that in mind when you're looking at some of your Halloween costumes. Hey, Catherine, thank you for joining in today. I appreciate it. As you guys know, I'm here every Tuesday, 1 p.m. I'm here on Facebook Live, and I'm going to give you guys a live stream every single Tuesday, 1 p.m. Today we're talking about Halloween costume safety and things to think about. So the first tip that I gave really is just remember the scary factor. This thing is scary to a lot of kids. So you might want to pick something else. So it really depends on the kids. And again, there's not a rating system that's going to help you identify this, but make sure that you're thinking about your child and not you when you're in there. Hey, Kendrick, thanks for joining in today. I appreciate you guys joining in at 1 o'clock today. So one thing that I will reintroduce myself, I am Dr. Jarret. I am your board certified pediatrician. I am here to help all you parents out there take better control over your children's lives and get them better behavior. I'm going to do this through my books, my live streams, and all of my programs that I'll have forthcoming to you. So all I want you to do is go to my Facebook page at Dr. Jarret. Spell out Dr. J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T, and like my page. So we're talking about Halloween costume safety tips. We talked about one, remember the scary factor. It's always very difficult. You're going to want to know that there are some things that are going to be more appropriate for younger ages as well. You're going to want to think about physical safety now. So you're not going to want to have costumes that are dragging under your young child or even older child's feet. You're not going to want to have buttons or pieces of a costume that may fall off at a certain time, and they may bite it or choke on it, particularly for those toddlers and younger kids. So you're going to want to make sure that they also have clear vision and their vision is not obstructed during this time. Hey Mariana, thanks for joining in today. We're talking about Halloween costume safety tips for all you parents out there. So you're going to want to make sure that those costumes are very, very secure, because you don't want pieces falling out and the kid choking on them. The other piece is you want to make sure that they're able to walk freely throughout them, so they don't have anything that's going to fall and trip, because tripping and falling and pedestrian accidents are the most common accidents over Halloween. Again, pedestrian accidents are the most common accident during Halloween. So it's where those scuffed knees or chipped teeth, where kids trip over something because they can't see appropriately, or their costume is too long and they trip over their costume. So be very, very careful about the physical safety of that Halloween costume. So tip 1 was make sure you're remembering the scary factor. Something that is not scary, like my friend right here, smiley face, looking very nice, friendly, versus scary guy right here that is definitely going to be scary to someone. Second tip, make sure the physical safety of the child in the costume is appropriate. So that means the dress is not too long that they can trip over, and they have clear, unobstructed vision through any mask or headdress that they may be putting on. That's extremely important, because pedestrian accidents are the #1 accident. So finally, as we talked about anxiety and fears in children, you are not going to want to force them to do something they don't want to do. No, I'm not frozen. You don't want to force them to do something that they don't want to do. Seriously. Again, this goes back to my amusement park this weekend. I'm seeing all of these parents out there. They are dragging their kids into scary exhibits that the kids wanted no part. It's not going to make them tough. It's not going to give them street cred. They're not going to be the toughest kid on the block. It's only going to make their anxieties worsen and their fears worsen. So if after 2 houses of trick-or-treating, perhaps they don't want to join in anymore and they want to go home, you know what? That's okay. That's happened to me several times with one of my sons. It's done. It's too much excitement. He gets a headache. All right, time to pack it in. No need to force him. I don't need all that candy in the house anyway. So if they are not willing to go trick-or-treating, or they're done, or they're having tantrums, remember, you're doing this for your child. You're not doing it for yourself. It can be fun, but you're doing it for your child. Make sure that you're doing that. Hey Javi, thanks for joining in today. We are talking Halloween safety tips and Halloween costume safety tips today to make sure all you parents are keeping your kids safe during trick-or-treat season. That'll just be a few weeks away. So I want to make sure you're getting safe costumes for your kids. That being said, make sure that you share this video, because everybody can't tune in at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live. Make sure that you sign in and share this video and just let people know, because people are all over trying to get their Halloween costumes. So, as a wrap-up, this is tip number 1 is remember the scary factor. The scary factor is just something that I can't overemphasize, especially when we're talking about kids and their anxiety, nervousness, and fears. Try to pick something appropriate that, 1, won't scare your child or won't scare a bunch of other kids, and just think about that during the times that you may want to go trick-or-treating. Avi says he wants his Reese's Cups. Actually, Reese's Cups are one of my favorites too. So thanks for making that comment, and thanks for sharing, Avi. So number two, you're going to want to make sure the physical safety of that costume is ready. That means that any mask that's placed on or anything on the head, the child has a complete view in their field of vision. That means they're not getting their peripheral vision cut off. They're not getting themselves, so they really have tunnel vision, because pedestrian accidents are the number one safety accident that happens during trick-or-treating. It's usually a kid tripping on a costume that's too long, or they just can't see something and they trip and fall. Leads to skinned knees, broken bones, chipped teeth, all the things you don't want to have for your kids. So make sure of the physical safety, and especially for the toddlers, if there are loose pieces, buttons, things that are going to fall off and they could potentially put in their mouth and choke on, make sure that you are securing those or removing those from the costume prior to going out. And finally, if your child doesn't want to go, tip number three, if they don't want to go, don't force them to go. It's that simple. It's that simple. Hey, Mary, thanks for joining in. I appreciate you tuning in. Tuesday afternoon, Facebook Live. Dr. Jarret is here. We are talking Halloween safety and Halloween costume safety specifically today. So the three tips are remembering the scary factor, remembering the physical safety of the costume, and the final tip, and probably the most important tip, as much as we parents get into Halloween costumes and the pictures and the trick-or-treating, if your child doesn't want to do it, don't force them to do it. I can't overemphasize that enough, but it's one of those things that we want to not force them. They may be ready next year or the year after. Give them a break if they don't want to do it. So keep them safe out there. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you share the video, because sharing is caring. Again, I am Dr. Jarret. I'm your board certified pediatrician, here to help you parents out there get better control over your kids and have a better behavior. I'm going to do this through my live streaming, through my programs, and my books that will be forthcoming that will help you take better control and transform your child. All I want you to do is go to my Facebook page at Dr. Jarret, spell out Dr. J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T, and like my page and follow it, and you'll see me here again next Tuesday afternoon, 1 o'clock. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Oh, wait, one more comment. Javi says that you could just make your child go as a Giants fan. That's pretty scary enough. Yeah, true indeed. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We'll see you next week.